Welcome back, guys. In the last video we designed our chat box with a bootstrap, and this was the final thing we made. So if your design is still not working properly, then you can grab all this code from whenever you download this project. You get all the project code, and in the resources we have the views folder, and in the views folder we have a design, and we have here chat.html. Actually I gave it an extension as .html, but this is a view component. You can grab all this view component which has also CSS, and you can paste in your conversion.py. okay, and you'll have the same design as mine. Now in this video we are going to do something tricky things. We're going to face a list of users here that has a conversation. Okay, so it's tricky because we are not going to face the users from the users table. If we have to face the users from the user table, then it's very easy. Just we need to face the user. We have a user, we can easily get that, but we're not fetching for the users table, and it doesn't make sense because the communication, all the communication are stored in the messages table. So let's go to the messages table here. All the conversations are in the message table, and here we have the user ID, and which is the sender ID, and receiver ID, right? And this both ID belongs to user table. So we are fetching the users from this table, and so it's a bit tricky. And the reason it's tricky is because as you can see that we have a user ID we should relate it to the user table and find that user ID, and we should have receiver ID we should relate it to the user and find the users based on that user ID. And we may have, again, you can see 4 2, and in the second row also we can have 4 2, right? In this way 4 may be asking message to the receiver with ID 2 many times. So in that case we may get a same user multiple times. That means duplication, right? So we need to avoid those things as well. Okay, so this is gonna be a little tricky, so feel free to pause the video, feel free to ask me if you have any questions, feel free to Google, or feel free to go to the documentation. And here I'm going to use a specific keyword called map. Map is used in the collection, so let me show you how it works. So if we type your map, let me check it as a map, and so in the collection, and you can see, so map always work in the collection. So here is the collection, so the collect keyword is used, so it makes collection here, and here is a map, and it taking each item, and for each item is multiplying by 2, right? And the output is obviously 2 4 6. So we'll be also taking all the users from the messages table. We'll get all the data from here as a collection, and we'll map it, and we'll compare those ID with the current login user ID, and then we'll distinguish them as a sender or receiver. Because let's say I'm logged in with this user, Madonna Pate, a random user, and I'm messaging user with the user ID 2, right? And that user is Valentina Patterson. So in my dashboard I should see Valentina Patterson name, not my name, because I messaged that user, right? And whenever Valentina Patterson logged in, he should see my name in his dashboard, and whenever he click my name, he should be able to see all the messages, right? So things gonna be a little tricky, and we have to also set up a relationship. So let's start. So first thing is to make a route. Let's go here and make a route that returns all the users. Route get, I'll simply make this as users, and send message controller, and I'll give this a chat with this user, chat with this user, chat with this user. Okay, so whenever user click, he can chat with that user whenever he clicks the username. So now let's here write a public function, chat with this user, and okay, and then first I have to get all the messages that I have sent to this particular users. or I should get all the messages that has been sent to me. Okay, so I'm user ID 4. I should get the all the messages that I have sent to other user because I'm user ID 4. Or if my receiver ID was 4, I should get all the message that belongs to me. Okay, so for that, let's write a query. I'll make this as conversation and message and make sure that you have a namespace, and let's write a latest. Let's abort this for now, it may create a confusion for you. So where user underscore id equals to auth user id, or you can also write auth id. So I'm grabbing the message where user id is equals to auth user id. That means this message was sent by me to particular user. I'm grabbing that message. Or where receiver receiver underscore id equals to auth id. That means if someone has sent me, I'm grabbing that message also. Okay, and then get, right here, get. So this is very simple query. We are not doing a lot of stuff. So just I'm getting a message. If that message was sent by me, that my ID to someone, I'm grabbing that message. Or someone sent message to me, I'm also grabbing that message. Okay, so if we go here, currently we have only one. So users, I didn't say anything. Let's go here. So users get. So I think I haven't written here anything, so let me return this. So if I return this, then okay, I can see this. Okay, so I have a JSON formatter, so I can see in a nice way. So I'm getting this user underscore ID is for receiver ID 2. So this message was sent by me to the receiver ID 2. So I get this message. Let's say user underscore ID is 2 and this is now 4, and I say hi. So now you can see. So this message was received. Sorry, this is not 5, this is 4. So this message is received by me, which is user underscore ID 4, and this was sent by user underscore ID 2. So I should grab this message also, and you can see I get that message well. Okay, so from here what is clear is that I chat with the user with the ID 2, so I should see his name on dashboard here. And whenever user with ID receiver with ID 2 logged in, he should see my name in his dashboard. Okay, so we got the collection. So this is the collection. So let's not return this, just was to test. Now from this I want to get the receiver and the user. So here I'll make the users as a variable, and I'll write a conversation, and then now I'll use the map. So I'll get each and every item from here, and I'll write function, and let's pass here conversation, and this will be callback, and here now I'll compare if this conversation, and in the conversation we do have a user underscore ID, that you can see we do have a user underscore ID, if that equals to the auth ID, so from the collection we are getting each and every item, and in the collection we have user underscore ID, and if that is equals to the auth ID, so let's give this auth ID, then what? So if then equals to auth, then we'll return conversation, and then here we'll write receiver, receiver. So receiver is the relationship that will set up, that will be in our message table, because this we are grabbing everything from message. So if user underscore ID is a current logged in user ID, then that the user is a receiver. We don't have to write else. You can directly write here return conversation, otherwise you'll be the sender. Okay, and then now we'll return the user. So if you are not clear about these things, then you'll be clear very soon. So now we have to make a two method, that is receiver and sender, in the message.php, which is our model. So let's go to message.php, and here I am in message.php, and here I'll make the public function. Let's make sender. So sender is a user, right? And it is in the message table, and definitely it belongs to the users table, right? This belongs to the user class. Okay, and let's import this user here, app slash model slash user, and similarly let's copy this and this as now receiver, RECEIB receiver. Okay, so now let's refresh this. So if I refresh this, then you can see, so I got Valentine Patterson name because I have sent message to this user. I'm logged in as user with ID 4 and have sent message to user ID 2, and I'm also getting message from same user. So in my dashboard I should see the name of user with ID 2, and that is Valentine Patterson, and it's working perfectly. And if I log in as with the user ID 2, I will see this name, user with ID 4. That will be this one. Okay, so this is fine, everything's fine. And let's say that still one thing is not fixed here, we have to fix that. Let's go to again in our database in the messages. If you go here, and so 4 is sending message 2, right? So I'm the user of the 4. If I send again next message to the user 2, what is the price? PRSC price. Save this, and now what do we expect? So now if I refresh, then I'll see 2 times same user 2 times because I have same ID 2 times, right? So this is the duplicate, and we need to filter this, and we can easily do that by adding the unique keyword. So copy this, and then here we can write unique, UNIQUE, unique. Save this, and let's go, and you can see I got only 1 time. Great.